To order for July 7th.
Is it off? I went online.
The meeting is called to order.
Okay. Hey.
Here, I'll sit down from your part. And we'll start the meeting off with a moment of silence. I'd like to dedicate this moment of silence to Pete Russo, whose wife just passed away a week ago.
You here?
A moment of
I
silence.
can't understand a thing.
Thank you.
You want to sit down? Yeah. Sorry.
This is Kathy Trudy. We didn't hear a thing either.
We're moving the chair to a closer spot, closer to the mic.
Thank you.
At the end of the order.
All right, now, where were we?
Much better.
Loud and clear.
Did you hear the moment of silence?
No.
I'd like to dedicate it to Pete Russo. His wife passed away last week.
What did he say? Pete wrote something.
His wife.
Otherwise, just press pound to continue. Please enter the meeting.
Right now, we're doing the Pledge of Allegiance.
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk to do roll call, please. The board, we don't have muted.
Portman,
Here.
Brannick,
Here.
Hufall,
Here.
Stendor, Rose, Berlin,
Here.
Corpola,
Here.
Pickup,
Here.
Vitek,
Here.
Huber,
Here.
Henneman, here, Wiener,
Here.
Judy,
Here.
Burdick,
Here.
Negro,
Here.
Mackenzie,
Here.
Quebec,
Here.
Metzinger,
Here.
Campbell,
Here.
Vasa,
Here.
Kinney,
Here.
and is Stendor here?
Here.
All present.
Need a motion to adopt the agenda? Early?
I'll move to adopt the agenda.
We have a second?
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second to adopt the agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed,
Aye.
no. Public comment period.
I have one.
Okay, so with the public comments, if you're on the phone,
I have one comment, John Wiener. I apologize for the May 12th not being here on the meetings. There's a handful of us that get our packages through the mail and I never received it. So now we have it straightened out and I will be receiving all my packets through the mail. I like doing that. I get a chance to look at them for a couple days ahead of time. I'm 65 and I don't know how to do a computer and I'm not really willing to go back to school. So the it worked very good. Very well, thank you.
okay, public comment period. So with public comments, if you are on the phone, you want to make a public comment regarding any of the agenda items, such as the Enbridge resolution. If you're on the phone, press *9. If you're on the computer, raise the hand on the Zoom platform. And we have a host, Jennifer is our host, and she will basically let us know when people are ready. So again, *9 if you're on the phone. That will tell the host you want to make a comment, or in Zoom, raise the hand.
Okay, Clark, is there anyone in person, or should we go ahead and start with the people in Zoom?
I'll start. I don't see anybody in the hallway. Mary Jo,
This is Supervisor Negro. Could we make sure that anybody that speaks on the phone too does introduce who they are and where they're from, so we know who we're all hearing, seeing, etc.? Thank you.
Yeah, so how this is going to work, I'm going to call on people. I'll either call on you via the name that you use to sign into Zoom or by the telephone number that you called in on. Computer users might have a little pop-up saying that they are willing to unmute. And when you give your public comment, please state your name and address for the record. And just a reminder that the public comments are 3 minutes per person. So with that, we will go ahead and start with our first comment, Megan Salmon Thomas.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Great, thank you. My name is Megan Salmon Tumis. I live at 1016 Chapel Avenue in Ashland, Wisconsin. And I'd like to speak in favor of resolutions number 9 and 10 regarding Enbridge's proposed Line 5 reroute. I think it's a really great idea for the county to communicate with the state agencies about what we feel is in the best interest of the citizens of Ashland County. Yes. And I'm personally a climate scientist, and what I see as being a particular concern with this reroute is expected climatic changes in heavy precipitation events interacting with the flashy waterways we have in this area and creating a dangerous situation of washouts that could affect the pipeline and harm our natural resources that we rely on here for our tourism and outdoor recreation industries. So I think that it's a really good idea for us to make these statements with the DNR and with the PSC. So that's all. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Megan. Going to move on to our next public comment from phone number 715-682-5795.
Can you hear me?
Yep. Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Mitchell. I live in the town of Sanborn at 6572 Lake Park Road. And I would also like to make a comment in support of resolutions 9 and 10. As far as the eminent domain, which is number 10, obviously this appears quite unconstitutional. And it's very upsetting to think that a foreign company could actually take a person's land over. And also with resolution, with all the things that were stated before, the idea of 109 acres of our wetlands disappearing at a time when we're trying to put in more wetlands is very upsetting. The amount of waterways that they would be transversing and actually would be doing open cut trenching and dredging is also upsetting from the amount of material that could be filled during that period. And I don't know that everybody recognizes that a leak in that area will also ruin our aquifer. And a lot of us have our well from that area, and our wells are directly from that, and it will destroy our clean water. So there's a myriad of reasons why not to allow Enbridge to go and do any construction in that area. I just want to state that at July 1st DNR open hearing, it was overwhelmingly people were against this construction project. And for anybody that's interested, on July 11th, up until July 11th, you can still put in your your concerns to the DNR. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Okay, our next public comment is Eric Andrews.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Eric Andrews, and I live at 511 Lakeshore Drive here in Ashland. I just wanted to briefly just voice my support for resolution items number 9 and 10 on the agenda, denying the water crossing permits to Enbridge reroute and the resolution denying eminent domain to Enbridge Energy. I believe a lot of good points that I was going to raise have already been raised by the previous two commenters, and I want to thank those who have spoken already, and just wanted to give my support to these items. I yield the rest of my time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other public comments?
I have one person here. If you,
Okay.
so we'll take the live person. Yep. Yep. You can stand up so you can see better. Yep.
So Jackson Kaiser, address 41661 State Highway 13, Marengo, Wisconsin. Hello, Ashland County Board members. As I stated, my name is Jackson Kaiser, owner of Bird Barn in Ashland, as well as Jack's Store in Marengo. I want to begin my public comments today by thanking each one of you for sitting where you are during these unprecedented and tumultuous times. It is times like these that we rely heavily on our local elected officials. So thank you for your service to our community. I stand before you today with my comments on the anti-5 line 5 resolutions that are on the agenda for today's meeting. I've had the opportunity to talk one-on-one and appreciate your openness to hear all aspects of this weighty vote. As a small business that has worked with Enbridge as a caterer in the past, I can speak today of the partnership we have had and the impact it has had on me, the business owner, my staff, and the whole community. For example, right now, at the start of an unprecedented COVID-19 outbreak, we were approached by Enbridge with an offer for 3 prepaid meals, which were distributed through the BRIC. This much needed cash flow helped us keep staff on payroll and continue to invest money in our community. As we continue to navigate this pandemic, COVID-19, it is partnerships like these that will help save small businesses and continue to support the livelihoods of families in Ashland. As a local, making sure this project is constructed and managed responsibly is personal. When I heard about the current leakage on the line along the Bad River stretch, I wanted to find out what exactly happened. Fortunately, once I did research, it turns out what is being claimed is completely false. Line 5 has never leaked on the Bad River stretch of the line. This is an important reminder that we must research these claims if they are going to play into our opinions, and more importantly, into our votes today. I must also mention the safety protocols that are required by companies like Enbridge. Enbridge in particular goes above and beyond to take safety precautions. They take a very proactive approach and mitigate the risk before it happens. In closing, please take a well-rounded approach as these issues come up. Have open dialogue with Enbridge on these concerns. This line has to be and will bring a huge economic stimulus to the businesses in this area. I am confident we can work with Enbridge on our differences and arrive at a solution that will be a partnership for many years to come. I appreciate all your guys' time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Anybody else out there?
We do have another comment via Zoom, or someone who wants to speak up, Becky Nellis.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes, my name is Becky Nellis, and I live in Ashland County, just south of the White River, less than a mile south of the White River, right where Enbridge intends to cross the river. I am in support of resolutions 9 and 10 that the board has on the table today. While Enbridge might bring some temporary jobs to our economy, most of our economy is based on tourism. It's one of the largest industries. And if we would ever have a spill that would go into Lake Superior or the other waterways, it would be detrimental to our tourism industry, and Ashland County would suffer greatly. This is a very poor area. I just don't see any benefit in the temporary jobs that Enbridge could bring. Also, in regards to the eminent domain, I was approached by Enbridge to run the pipeline up and down the 40 acres right next to my driveway and my house. My house is only 10 years old. It's a newer home. And then we told Enbridge if they wanted to do that, they could purchase it, but they were unwilling to purchase it. And I am afraid that if they are granted eminent domain, they will come back and they will want to use that in taking my home. My husband and I have worked very hard our entire lives to pay for our home, and this was our dream home and our dream acreage, and it is just very sad to see the destruction and everything that is going to happen around my house due to this pipeline going in. Thank you for listening to my comments today.
Thank you.
And we have a couple written comments that were sent in via email either to myself or the county clerk. And the county clerk is going to summarize those written comments for the record.
Received from Susie Smith in support of Ashland County Board denying Enbridge request to the DNR and WIPSC. Michelle Sadowska in support of resolution R07 2020-1355 denying Enbridge and eminent domain. Rose Spillier denying Enbridge permit applications for a new line 5. Nancy Stendor, support of resolution to deny water crossing permits and other DNR permits for Enbridge reroute line 5 and resolution denying eminent domain ability for Enbridge. Joyce Shelby, support the resolutions to encourage the Public Service Commission and the Wisconsin DNR to deny Enbridge eminent domain and wetlands permits. David Setterholm requesting to reject both eminent domain and permits for the pipeline. Dan Penn, wish to go on record supporting resolution opposing the authority of Enbridge and fossil fuel pipelines to apply the PFD and use the powers of eminent domain to take privately owned lands. And then Rosalind Nelson, basically just pointing out some facts in regards to Enbridge line 5. That is it.
Are there any other written comments that supervisors have received that they wish to enter into the record during the public comment period?
I have a question.
Hello, I'd like to speak.
Clark, there are several more on Zoom that would
Oh,
like to
okay.
make comments
I'm
as well.
sorry, I didn't realize. Yeah, I couldn't tell. I got disconnected for a little bit, so that's why I wasn't sure.
Yep, we'll call on you in a little bit to speak.
Okay. Oh, thank you so much. Thank
Yep.
you. Yep. Bye-bye.
If there's no more written comments that the supervisors want to mention.
Okay, it's Kathy Schutte, and I just have a question. First of all, some of us are having a hard time understanding here at the Bay Area BART room. When the people are speaking at the microphone, they need to go closer to it because it's very echoing and it's hard to hear. So then the next thing, is this where we would read, the supervisors would read emails that we got from people, or is it during the regular part of the meeting? Where would you like?
if it's a public comment, you should read it into the public comment with a name and address and just are they opposed or supportive of the resolution as a public comment.
I'll wait until the resolution then.
Okay.
Okay.
Jen, do you have anybody else that has raised their hand or
Yes.
star 9 to speak?
Yes, I have several.
All right, go ahead.
Yep. Okay, so we're gonna start with Kate Ullman.
Hello. Thank you so much to the county. My name's Kate Ullman and I live at 1222 9th Avenue West in Ashland. I'd like to thank the county administrator for bringing forward these resolutions 9 and 10, opposing the stream crossings and the eminent domain. And I wanted to speak specifically to the eminent domain resolution. I think that the use of eminent domain in this situation is totally inappropriate and counter to the purpose of eminent domain. Eminent domain should be used when something is in the public interest. And the pipeline through Ashland County and through Wisconsin is not in the interest of residents of Ashland County, the city of Ashland, or the state of Wisconsin. The pipeline owned by a Canadian company goes to a Canadian destination, and economic impact studies have indicated that there is no economic impact in the state of Wisconsin of shutting down Line 5. So the idea that eminent domain would be used to seize private land for the pipeline in Ashland County is counter to the very concept of what eminent domain's purpose is. There is no public interest in Line 5 through Wisconsin. There's no benefit to the residents of Wisconsin for Line 5, aside from some possible temporary benefits to local business during the construction. But that's a really short-term view of what has a lot of long-term potential risks. Enbridge claims that Line 5 operates safely, but that what they fail to mention is that over 1 million gallons have spilled during the operation of Line 5. And that 1 million gallons has been predominantly in the Lake Superior watershed. It may be true that there hasn't been a spill on the Bad River Reservation, but the likelihood of a future spill is, well, I guess I can't say what the likelihood is, but there is the potential for a future spill in the Bad River watershed or in Ashland County. So I think that the potential environmental downsides and the cost to our local communities, our state, and our water is far outweighed by any small local benefits from the temporary construction. And there is no larger public benefit of having the pipeline here in Ashland. I think the recent court decision shutting down the Dakota Access Pipeline is an indication that there has started to be a shift in the way people understand the risks associated with pipelines. And Enbridge has recently had problems with Line 5 in the Straits and has also been asked to shut the pipeline down for environmental concerns. So I think it's really in our community's interest, and I encourage all the board members to vote in favor of these two resolutions. Thank you so much for your time.
Okay, our next public comment is from phone number 715-779-3650.
Hi, my name is Noah Saperstein. I live at 901 Ellis Avenue, Ashland, Wisconsin, and currently I'm speaking as an individual. I'd like to thank you all for your time and ask the county to vote in favor of denying the water crossing and other DNR permits, as well as the eminent domain through the Public Service Commission. I support everything that's been said, supporting these resolutions already, and just want to raise a couple other things. There's been talk of, or at least by one individual, of Enbridge's safety record. As we just heard, that isn't completely accurate. And in reality, they're not exactly the most transparent company either. We can look at the, I think it was the 1980 spill in the Hiawatha National Forest that did not go reported until it was exposed in 2011, where tons and tons of contaminated soil I believe it was 800 tons, had to then be removed because of how far down the oil had seeped over the 30 plus years. There's also almost 250,000 gallons spilled just east of us in Crystal Falls in the late 90s. There's the notorious 2010 oil spill in the Kalamazoo River that when Enbridge saw the pressure was dropping, they increased the pressure, which further exacerbated the spill situation. And like we just heard addressed, there was the recent anchor that hit Line 5 in the Straits of Mackinac. And while an anchor hitting the pipeline is theoretically out of Enbridge's control, the way they handled the situation is not in the interest of the public good. They refused to share documents with the state of Michigan about the damage of the impact until a temporary restraining order was approved by a court. Had they been acting in good faith and were concerned about the well-being of the water and the local economy and everybody else, they would have willingly handed over the information on the harm done to the pipeline so the state could evaluate if it was safe or not. And so this long history that they have indicates that they're not necessarily motivated to protect the water or our well-being. And as far as, this whole economic impact and economic boom supporting us during hard times during COVID, if we were to, emphasize removing the pipeline, that would create a lot more jobs than this temporary 41 miles of creation. So again, I'm asking you all to support the resolutions opposing the DNR permits and the Public Service Commission's eminent domain process. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next public comment comes from phone number 608-852-6376.
Hello, my name is Peter Kearney. I have property at 841 Copper Falls Drive in Mellon, Wisconsin. I'm also calling to say that I'm opposed to the what's before the council as far as the Enbridge eminent domain and the DNR permitting. Back in October, we had a meeting in the city of Mellon, which I attended, and the overall feeling at that was that question at that point, eminent domain was raised, and the next day, Enbridge comment was that, well, we really don't like to use eminent domain, and this was Jennifer Smith making a comment, unless we really have to. And the bottom line is they knew that this was in their pocket the whole time. If you look at the city of Mellon, they came in, they offered the city of Mellon $5 million. They gave you guys $500,000. And there's no saying I learned back when I was started college in my first economics class is that, there's no such thing as a free lunch. And basically what that is that Enbridge is coming back now and wanting you to do them a favor. They gave the money, they propped up the schools, they propped up with this cash. This company is worth $64 billion. This revenue generated by this line generates $31 million a day. That's $31,000 a minute. They already told you what this is worth. This is worth, the starting rate was $24 million to the Bad River. Ashland County should say to Enbridge, this starts at $24 million. Enbridge is using us as nothing more than a conduit to generate billions of dollars. It starts in Canada, ends in Canada. And they're going to use the property owners of Wisconsin, Ashland County, who homesteaded these properties, had their families stay here, live here, pay their taxes here, do all the things that they've done here. And we're going to allow a company from Canada to come in and say, you know what, we'd like your land. And we're going to ask the county to do it because we gave them money. So I'm opposed to this just on the absolute notion of what they've tried to do to this community. Separate us out, get us fighting between each other, having people take sides. This is not what it's about. It's about destroying things like Copper Falls. If there was ever a spill, there is no way you would clean the gorge of Copper Falls. This line sits on the edge of Copper Falls State Park. This is nothing more than a boondoggle. Look at the sand cut, all those areas. We spent hundreds of hours and times establishing that as a national smallmouth and perch habitat for reproduction. That all comes into risk. You can't tell me that Ashland, the city of Ashland, doesn't get a lot from the tourist population that comes to fish and recreate on Lake Superior. That is your gold mine. It is not Enbridge. This line is like if you took a salad bowl and cut it in half and you ran oil around the top ridge of the salad bowl, and the bottom of the salad bowl is Lake Superior. You now have every stream that runs into Lake Superior towards Ashland is all going to be subject to the capability of being polluted along with your groundwater. So that is my point, and I think that we should reject this wholeheartedly. Let Enbridge go somewhere else. That's my opinion. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Okay, thank you.
He's a good speaker.
We have one more public comment from Michelle Johnson.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for an opportunity to comment. My name is Michelle Johnson. I'm with Enbridge Energy. I live and work in Superior, Wisconsin. I just wanted to give you a quick update on the project. So we're in the DNR's public comment period for our wetlands and waterways crossing. It is anticipated that there'll be a second public comment period when the draft environmental impact statement is available, maybe sometime this fall. The other issue or other update on the permit is through the PSC. And we've recently been awarded a stay of proceedings through July 31st. And that halts the process while we come to agreements with all of our landowners with the intention that we would be able to withdraw our application. And then just maybe some other things, a reminder, this project is in response to a lawsuit by the Bad River Band, and it is our intention to be respectful of their wishes and get off the reservation. And then just one last thing to share, the product that's being shipped that provides the energy needs of the upper Midwest would equal 2,100 trucks per day on Highway 2 across Wisconsin and the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Thanks again for an opportunity to comment.
I can't fucking hear anything.
Okay, thank you. We have another comment from 715-793, oh, excuse me, 715-779-3650.
Hi, this is Noah Saperstein again. I figured I'd use up the last little bit of my time. I just want to remind everyone on the board that the Bad River Band is telling Enbridge to leave the watershed, not just the reservation. So the implication that Enbridge is being respectful of the wants of the tribe is not accurate. I also think that thinking about it as this pipeline is an alternative to trucks taking oil across our community is a coercive measure to try and put us into a state of fear to approve this pipeline, and that's also not a good faith effort. So I think that both of those statements that were just made are very indicative of the way that Enbridge operates and the amount of respect and care they have for us as a community and for our water. Thank you so much.
Okay, if anyone else called in on the Zoom meeting would like to make a public comment, please raise your hand now. On the phone, it's *9.
This is Mike Stoffel.
We do have someone with their hand raised, so if you could go through with that process. I'm going to get to this phone number first, 715-919-0179. Go ahead.
Hi. Hi, that's me. I'm Roz Nelson calling from Mellon. I have a very brief comment. I can't imagine being more articulate than Pete Turney has been. I support resolutions 9 and 10 wholeheartedly. I'm sure you remember life under GTAC and how we were pitted against each other and conned by that company. And Enbridge is doing the same thing, except they're much more sophisticated and they have practically an endless supply of cash to do it with. These small token payments they're giving to schools or ads in the newspapers and so on, the dollars they're spending in the community, they are as much, they're bribes. This company is a con artist. And if you think that they will be here to clean up a mess when that oil spills, I think you're dreaming. And when that oil spills, yours and your neighbor's property values are going to be tanked. That means the taxes are going to be tanked. So we'll be sitting with oil in our water and our land and no means to clean it up. And if you think Enbridge is going to come in and be the good guys, you're dreaming. They're trying to suck as much money out of the tar sands as they can while it's still possible. And at the same time, they're investing in clean energy because they're just waiting to shift to another economy when this one stops working. We should do everything we can in our power to make it stop working in our precious watershed. Thanks.
Thank you. We've got another public comment from 715-292-9443.
30 minutes for public comment. And I think it's either appropriate that we recognize that we are needing to suspend our rule of 30 minutes, or we need to wrap this up. We understand that there's people calling opposed to this. I think it would be wise if we just have an idea of how many more people wish to say they oppose it so that we can move on with our meeting instead of hearing some of these repetitive comments.
Hello?
Yes, Charlie.
Suspend our rules and extend public comment for another 30 minutes. And then take it from there.
Hello?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that? We couldn't really hear what was just said.
This is Supervisor Ortman. I make a motion to suspend our rules and extend public comments for another 30 minutes and then reevaluate at the end of that time.
This is Supervisor Negro. I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second on the table to extend public comment for another 30 minutes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, obviously. All right, let's get on with it.
Okay, so we'll continue with phone number 715-292-9443.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
Hi, this is Abby Fergus. I'm giving comment as an individual, and my address is 603 5th Avenue, East Ashland, Wisconsin. I'm thinking about how something that connects everyone up here is our relationship to the water, whether you are a fisherman or you garden and feed your garden water, or you like to recreate on the water. I think you can find a way that each and every one of us up here is connected to clean water, and that ties us together despite any political or ideological differences we have. And as others have already mentioned, it's clear that Enbridge is trying to divide us and underestimating this community up here and how we come together repeatedly for the water to get out harmful groups like GTAC who act like imposters in our community and tell us lies about the economic benefits they will bring. It's obvious that the fossil fuel industry is dying, as we saw yesterday when DAPL was shut down and a permit was upheld by a court that gets in the way of the, let's see, I'm blanking. It was a TC Energy now, but it's TransCanada. We also saw and keep on seeing how the Great Lakes states and tribes are over and over again opposing Enbridge and telling them to get out. As Noah mentioned, Bad River wants this pipeline out of the entire watershed and wants a switch to a green economy that you can read about in Winona LaDuke's work. It's not just about the reservation. That's a lie. So I think it's obvious that the county board should pass both resolutions and show their opposition to this line. We've already been given basically all the money that Enbridge will likely give us, and that can go towards fixing our wastewater treatment systems and investing in this community and finding new ways to sustain our community rather than believing that extractive industry will continue to support us. We can just look at our neighbors in the Upper Peninsula and see what the death of the mining industry has done to that place. I'm originally from Michigan, and the UP to this day is struggling because they haven't found a green new economy, and we have the opportunity to do that. We've got the opportunity to take care of our community, and that includes not just the people who live up here, but all the wildlife and water and land that we are all dependent on to live. You don't need oil and you don't need money to live. You need water and food and life. So I'm asking that the county board pass these resolutions and listen to your community and oppose Line 5 and Enbridge and get them out of here. Thanks for the time and for collecting public input on this.
Okay, thank you. We also had a request for public comment from Mike Stoffel.
Hi, thank you. This is Mike Stuffle with Ayers Associates, and different agenda item than this particular one. Number 12, the Finance Committee's recommendation for the closeout of the revolving loan fund. Just to go on record in support of the City of Mellon's request to utilize the CDBG close funds for a community center for that region. They've identified that need over the years and have a location that is ready to go and provide a facility not just for the City of Mellon but for the surrounding townships as well. But that portion of the county and really anybody that is in need of a place anywhere in the county to have a facility for a community center, and it's something that would be bricks and mortar to last decades. Typical buildings, yes, you may have some maintenance on them in the future, but they are something that you can stand behind and utilize for many generations. And I understand the need or the desire to plug a budget hole and utilize the funds for repaving a roadway. Unfortunately, the lifespan of roadways is not anywhere near the lifespan of a building. So just wanted to go on record in support of the City of Ellen's request to use those funds for a community center.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other public comments? Okay, I don't have anyone else raising their hand in Zoom.
Hearing no more, then we will close the public comment period. Everyone has had a chance to speak their piece. Okay, the public comment period is closed. Next thing on the agenda is the consent agenda. I need a motion to approve the County Board Supervisor minutes from May 12th.
Kathy Schutte, so moved.
The consent agenda is approved all at once. By its very definition, we would just have a motion to approve the consent agenda, and then all items on the consent agenda would be approved. If a supervisor wants to remove an item from the consent agenda, they can, we would add it to the regular agenda.
Chairman Pufal, this is Philomena Quebec, and I just have a sort of some changes that should be made in the minutes. So I'm not sure if we would have to move it to the regular agenda in order to do that. If so, I would make a motion to move it to the regular agenda.
Who seconded that motion?
I'll second that motion. Joe Rose.
On the motion and a second, no.
We're gonna move we're gonna take the minutes then out of the consent agenda? We're gonna move it to the regular agenda?
We can't hear you over here.
Philomena, you were the one that made the motion?
Yes, no, it was Kathy Schutte.
No.
I made the motion. I made the motion to accept the minutes as presented. Yes, I did.
Not appropriate.
So if Philomena wants to correct them, she can do that before we accept them, but I made the motion.
No, that's not.
Can it go that way too?
We have a question from Clarence Campbell.
No, I'm saying that your motion is not appropriate right now.
Well, they asked for a motion to accept the minutes, and I said, yes, I approve the minute, I made a motion. So if we.
Supervisor Negro, point of order. Up until Philomena's motion, correct me if I'm wrong, the minutes were part of the consent agenda, and the consent agenda was all one thing until Philomena made that motion, correct?
That was my intention.
Okay, thank you very much. Then I would think that we would move on that next.
Well, at this point, I would recommend you had a motion and a second to remove the minutes from the consent agenda and move it to the regular agenda. I think before you do anything, you should vote on that, and then after that, go back to the consent agenda.
Who's running the meeting?
What?
Who's running the meeting?
There's a point of order, I'm trying to get clarification.
I'm just trying to figure out who's running the meeting. Doesn't seem like anyone.
Clark? Kathy Schutte here. Could someone explain the what Philomena is talking about, the consent thing?
Kathy, so my understanding is that we can't make a motion separately to talk about the minutes, accept the minutes or modify the minutes when it's under the consent agenda. And so in order to have a discussion about the minutes, we would have to, my motion was to take that agenda item from the consent to the regular, and then we can have a conversation about it. Otherwise, it's just everything, all those 6 things are either voted up or down together.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
We should consider those individually.
Joe, Supervisor Rose, do you want, did you say that you wanted to consider each one of those individually?
I think we should. They're all different.
This is Supervisor.
I mean,
Thomas.
I
Do
would
we need
amend
a
my,
motion for that?
Excuse me, do we vote to take all 6 items that under the consent agenda then? Is that what we're saying?
I could certainly amend my motion to move all 6 items into the regular agenda if the supervisors want to consider those individually.
Okay, that sounds good.
This is Max Lindsay here. Just for point of order here, Robert's Rules does not require a motion to remove an item from the consent agenda. That is done just at the request of any board member.
Normal procedure, when anything is listed on the agenda, under consent agenda, it's a blanket approval of everything on the consent agenda. I don't know why we're not adhering to that. Does anybody here have any questions about the stuff that's put on this consent agenda?
I think
probably should be discussed.
Philomena only wants to talk about the minutes. So she wants to move the number 1 under the consent agenda down to the regular agenda. Then we can approve all the rest under the consent agenda.
I can't. Clark and Dick, we cannot hear when people are so far away from the microphone. If they could please go to the microphone and talk. Thank you.
Yes.
I believe what Philomena would like to do is make amendments to the minutes. We've got a motion to accept the consent agenda and a second, which then opens it for discussion. And under discussion, if she would give her changes, we could amend the consent agenda to allow those changes to be made to the minutes. Mr. Lindsay, would you be agreeable?
Well, Kathy motioned to accept the minutes. So that was an inappropriate motion. The only appropriate motion was Philomena's to move the consent agenda, but that motion isn't needed. Dick, all you need to do is say, item number 1 under the consent agenda is now on the regular agenda. Or we could still do it either way that people withdraw the motion.
All right, now we have a motion on the table to remove number 1 of the consent agenda, supervisor minutes. We have a second on that.
Yes. My agenda, my motion's on the floor. Yes.
We have a second on the motion.
Yeah, I seconded it.
You can't hear nothing in here. This is like listening to somebody that's in a barrel.
I seconded it.
Long time ago. You made it, okay. We have a motion and a second on the table to remove the county board supervisor minutes from the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries, thank you. Now we need a motion to approve the rest of the consent agenda.
Supervisor Ortman will make that motion.
We have a second.
Supervisor Negro. Make a second.
Motion and a second to approve the rest of the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We have the E, presentation, Act 157 Flood Mitigation Demonstration Project.
So you want to do the minutes? Yeah, why don't we do the minutes since that's right there? The minutes? The minutes were removed from the consent agenda, so why don't we put that to bed before we move on with the rest of the agenda?
All right. We will discuss the county supervisor board minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve. See, you can't discuss them until you have.
Supervisor Orton, I'll second that. Motion to discuss bill meetings.
Somebody had a question.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the county board supervisor minutes. Now, do we have any discussion?
I have a, can we have some discussion?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, in the minutes, there's a discussion, or there's the agenda item on the restaurant fees. And just 2 points about that. It talks about an attached list, or it talks about an attached fee charge. I am assuming that's a list. It's not clear. And there is no attachment to the minutes. So I think that whatever attachment should be included in the minutes. We also had a discussion about sending some correspondence to the governor about this issue, and that should be reflected in the minutes. So I would request that the minutes are changed on that particular point.
And what did you want done?
What I would want done is the attachment should be put on the back side of the minutes so that it's clear what we were talking about in that conversation, number one. And then I'd like one sentence added about the letter that you requested I draft to be sent to the governor. So those are the two changes that I'm requesting on that restaurant licensing fee review portion of the minutes.
Is she making a motion or she just bringing it up?
How do you modify your motion to accept those changes and then I'll say?
Yeah, that is why accept those changes.
And I will second that.
What was your motion?
To accept the minute with the changes that she's asking for.
And we have a second?
And I'll second.
We have a motion and a second on the table to amend the minutes with the notations that were brought forward. I'm in Quebec. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Presentation. Act 157 Flood Mitigation Demonstration Project. Better get up here quick before somebody shoots you down.
Yeah. What item number is this in your packet?
Seven.
Item E7. This is Mary Jo Gingras with the Land Conservation Department. I just wanted to give you a brief update on Act 157. So you guys all should have a sheet in your packet. It's a 2-page sheet. It's a brief informational brochure about Act 157. Act 157 provides $150,000 to Ashland County. This has begun already, this project, towards development of up to 3 natural flood management demonstration projects. This funding can be used for engineering and design, materials, construction, monitoring, and project management. Natural flood management. This is a watershed-based approach to implement restoration of our hydrology in our lands, and it would be designed to reestablish the landscape's natural capacity to store and manage water. We're going to be working on this in the Marengo River watershed, where we've had substantial flooding in 2016 and 2018. So I've talked to you guys a little bit about this project already, so hopefully you're familiar with it. Act 157 is only one element of a larger flood risk collaboration that our department is working on right now. I've also talked to you about the emergency management grant that we received through FEMA this year. This is a $200,000 grant, and that project is looking at our erosion hazards in the Marengo River watershed, and then we will utilize the knowledge that we receive on those erosion hazards to implement this Act 157 money to develop 3 demonstration projects to reduce flood risks in the watershed. This work came out of a study that was conducted and a report released in 2018 from the Wisconsin Wetlands Association. It was a case study that documented how fluvial erosion hazards, such as gullies, eroding ravines, how they have caused loss of watershed storage, and they've increased our storm-related damage to roads, culverts, bridges, homes, and private structures in the Marengo River watershed. That case study actually recommended that there be demonstration projects created to show the benefits of natural flood management projects. So Act 157, this was general purpose revenue dollars. This act was authored last year by Senators Petrosky and Bewley and Representatives Steineke and Myers. The proposal had 29 co-sponsors, and it passed unanimously with bipartisan support through the legislature. So we've received approval that we have received this money. It will begin being filtered through the county and through the Land Conservation Department later this year and wrap up next year. So last week I met with the Wisconsin Wetlands Association, a hydrology engineer out of Minneapolis, our local Wisconsin Extension Ag agent, and we met with a number of farmers that are seeing this type of erosion damage on their farm property in the Marengo, and we've identified some preliminary sites that would be conducive to this type of demonstration practice. So we're actively working on it. The project will officially launch this Thursday, and we are working with Dorothy Tank with our emergency management to manage the for us. So I'd be happy to answer any questions if anyone has any.
EA 2019 Land Conservation Report.
Okay.
So we have a PowerPoint here that I'm going to present. I apologize for anybody on the phone. You do have a copy of the report in your packet, though. There is a full copy of the report. It is 18 pages. I'm not going to go through the entire thing, but I am just going to give you some highlights from the report. So if anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask.
The computer seems to be locked up.
No problem. Okay, so if you guys want to refer to your report, I'll go ahead and get started. I develop these reports annually, basically just to update you as supervisors on the conservation work, accomplishments, and finances, revenues that come into the county through this department. Wisconsin is unique in that all 7 have a
Land and Water Conservation Department. We are funded through the Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection, DACCAP. I'll be quizzing you on what DACCAP means at the end of this presentation. These departments are driven by our locally developed land and water resource management plan. This plan is required to be updated every 10 years. The plan was developed last year to drive us from 2020 through 2029. And the scope of these departments throughout Wisconsin varies based on whatever our local resource issues are, what the interest, skills, and expertise of our staff is, what our access is to project-based grants, and other factors. Our department here in Ashland employs full-time positions, and these are funded through DACCAP and DNR grants, DNR wildlife damage funds, and county support. And basically, our department provides technical design and cost sharing on over 40 different conservation practices in Ashland County. We are able to bring funding to the county, which no other department or entity is eligible. And a considerable amount of time was spent last year in updating our annual, or our land and water resource management plan. 3 of your report gives a brief synopsis of our administrative activities and our budget summary. The important thing to note here is that the figures listed on this page amount to approximately $675,000 that was awarded to our department last year. Now, that's not actual expenditures, as some of these awards will span several years. However, most of the money is spent on the ground or with local businesses or contractors, and at least half of those funds listed there are not available to any other department. A table of the actual revenue that we received is listed on page 3 in your report. Page 4 is a pie graph. This just shows the distribution of funding sources, which we received our revenues from. And the bulk of our revenue source last year came from DACCAP at 47%, which funded our cost share projects and our staffing grant. If you flip to pages 5 through 7 in your report, these summarize our cost share projects last year. And these projects were implemented with private landowners in Ashland County. The projects were funded through a number of different funding sources, including DACCAP funding, Natural Resource Conservation Service funds, which is our federal partner, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and private landowners. The projects included wetland restoration, several livestock fencing, livestock trails and walkways. Livestock walkways are designed to reduce and prevent erosion while facilitating movement of animals, people, or off-road machinery. We also implemented critical area stabilization, which prevents erosion. We implemented well abandonments. Well abandonment is a practice used to properly close wells that are no longer in use, and this helps reduce and limit any potential contamination, erect conduits to groundwater. We also implemented a manure storage closure, a stream crossing, access roads, culvert replacement, and several additional livestock fencing projects. On page 13 of your report, it itemizes our aquatic invasive species program in Ashland County. We received a grant in 2018 for more than $165,000 to hire a coordinator for our county for a 3-year period. So this program extends from 2019 through 2021. Along with this coordinator, we also employ 2 interns every summer. These interns work out at our boat landings, especially at Lake Superior, but also inland lakes such as Lake Galilee, Day Lake, and Butternut Lake. And they work with recreationists, fishermen, and boaters, educating them about aquatic invasive species and safe ways to prevent the spread of moving invasive species inland from Lake Superior. Last year, we conducted over 1,000 watercraft inspections, and we are working on that target again for this year. Why do we care about aquatic invasives? Not only do they harm our recreation activities such as fishing, boating, and swimming, they also can damage commercial and agricultural and aquacultural resources. Some invasives cause human health problems, and they can even degrade and reduce property values on lakes where they have Eurasian water milfoil. It's estimated that nationwide, there's over $137 billion spent annually on controlling aquatic invasive species. These species spread rapidly and aggressively. Control is difficult and eradication is nearly impossible. Therefore, prevention and education is our most effective method for maintaining and reducing the amount of aquatic invasives we have. Our program implements many of the state DNR's programs in providing education efforts throughout the county. And we are very fortunate in Ashland County because a very small number of our inland lakes have any invasive species. Of our 160 lakes that we have, there are only 15 lakes that have some form of aquatic invasives, and these are not the highly aggressive ones that we are most concerned about. Okay, page 15 talks about our tree and shrub sale. Right before that, Clark, the page before that. Since 1993, we've sold more than 250,000 trees and shrubs locally. This sale provides low-cost trees and shrubs sold in small quantities to landowners. This program has a long history of educating landowners about local native plants that thrive in our region. Many people purchase these plants for erosion control, wildlife habitat, windbreaks, shelters, screens. Folks appreciate the program and they look forward to it annually. We have many clients that have purchased for more than a decade. The program raises funds for youth. We fund our local conservation poster and speaking contest through this. And we fund a 7th grade science symposium that's held annually out at the visitor center, as well as an Ashland High School Envirothon team. On page 16 of your report, it talks about our nutrient management and farmland programs. Overall, we've had a decrease in the number of our dairy farms here in Ashland County, but our beef farmers have increased since 2012, and our smaller hobby farms have more than doubled. And our number of farms in Ashland County has been reported at 263 farms. On page 17, at the end of your report, this talks about our wildlife damage abatement and claims program. This program has been hosted in Ashland County since 1987. And the focus of the program is to reduce damage to commercial agricultural crops caused from deer, bear, geese, and turkey. Farmers are able to receive reimbursement for damages on commercial crops from these animals, and they're also able to receive abatement practices through our department on this. That program is coordinated by Dave Schultz, who is a wildlife damage specialist in our department. That's it for last year, and I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have them.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Next on the agenda is item F, regular agenda. Resolution R07 2020 135.
What?
We have a motion to approve that resolution, and we have a second.
This is
Resolution
Supervisor Quebec. I'll offer a second.
Once again, I'm going to tell you what the resolution is: to deny water crossing and other DNR permits for Enbridge reroute line 5. We have a motion and a second on the table. I think we probably have to roll call on this, don't we? We got people all over the place.
Do we have discussion? No, I think some of us want to say something.
Somebody in the can seconded it.
Okay.
So now it's open for discussion.
And I have a point of order or question. And apparently I've been something bad. We used to sign resolutions. When did we change that?
We changed that this fall because the point, your prior practice, the question, by the way, was why don't you sign the resolutions as you enter the doorway? Basically, what you're doing is signing a piece of paper before it's been put on the table for a motion and for a second and open for discussion. And so basically right now, if we pass a resolution,
I'm in a meeting right now. I can't.
it's recorded that it's passed the resolution and the chair basically just signs it with the attestation of the clerk.
Okay, but who changed it? I did. Okay, because the question that I have is, we needed to sign it so that we could put it on the, or vote on it on the agenda.
Yeah, that's, the agenda is created by the chair or the vice chair.
Okay.
And a resolution, in order to come into discussion, needs a motion and a second to be discussed. And the process of signing a resolution before it was discussed has created confusion for the county. We had a resolution that we went backwards and looked upon, and it was in the book as the resolution, and it was signed by the county board. All the county board members signed it, but if you look back and look at the minutes, it wasn't approved. And so in order to clean up the historical record long after we're gone, resolutions don't get put into the book unless they are passed by the county board. And the only reason that the board chair signs it and the clerk attests to it is that was the official, and it said it passed the county board.
Kathy Schutte here. Usually when we made a resolution, it had to go before a committee. So I'd like to know which committee moved this forward to the county board.
Reception is just for a moment.
He forwarded this resolution to county board.
This resolution was brought forward in discussion with the chairman of the county board. The DNR comments are due on the 11th. As such, there wasn't time for a committee to bring this forth, and the chairman added it to the agenda, and the chair added this to the agenda.
Then I would like to table this amendment until we get that report.
Then she'd like to table it.
We're in discussion now. In order to table it, you have to vote down the resolution. I think, no, you can just table it.
You can make a recommendation to have it tabled, if somebody seconds it, you vote on table.
Listen, Pepe, listen.
And has this been brought up to any committee before it was presented? Has this been, I know you made the motion, you made the recommendation, but has it been brought up to any committee and discussed?
I make a motion that we table this until we get all the information, and then we'll take a look at it and vote on it, but table it for the time being, please.
This is not the appropriate time for a motion, another motion. There is a motion on the floor right now that needs to be addressed before we take up another motion.
What is it?
There was a motion by Supervisor Ortman and a second by myself, Supervisor Kabak, to approve the resolution. And so that needs to be voted on before we move on to another motion.
How many hear it in this building?
This is Supervisor Negro. I have a point of clarification. In our consent agenda, there was some resolutions that came in front of us that were not in front of a committee. Why is this one any different? Did we not read our packets?
Point of order. A motion to table would supersede the other motion, but it needs a second. I'm sure Mr. Lindsay's on the phone, he can confirm that or rule that that's incorrect, but if there's sufficient enough votes to table it, it is tabled until whatever point has been identified to bring it back. So there is a motion, and we should be in discussion, and now a motion has come up to table, and that's the motion on the floor that should be looked at if there's a second. I have not heard a second yet myself.
So somebody seconded that.
Supervisor Huber will second that.
And this is
Who
Max
seconded
Lindsay.
that motion?
This is Max Lindsay. That is the correct procedure. The motion to table is allowed while there is a pending motion on the floor.
Thank you. Thank you. May I say one more thing? Here at the BART room, there are many hands up that cannot hear what's being said. We don't know when you're making resolutions. There's many people with their hands up that cannot hear. This is not the way to do democracy, you guys. And Mike Berlin would like to speak.
No,
there's no discussion on the table.
Chairman Dick.
What are we doing? I can't follow what's happening.
It's getting out of hand,
Yeah,
people.
if there's been a motion in the second, vote, the majority vote, according to the Robert Rules of Order, it's not debatable. So if there is a
There was a
second,
motion and a second to approve this resolution, and we should vote on it.
taking it on the table.
Where's our, Mr. Chairman, where's our?
Does that supersede?
Yes, we have a motion and a second, it's not debatable, it can't be amended, and we just need to vote, and it needs a majority vote to pass. If it fails, we go back to the first motion.
And I would ask for, which means that a roll call vote.
Supervisor Negro, I have one more point of clarification. Supervisor Rose had asked for, he had called the question before the motion to table.
Yes.
Yes, he did.
Yes, we did.
Maybe, but there wasn't a second. And there has been a second for table.
But if calling the question was ahead of the table, then we needed to get a second for it.
Well, the motion has been made and seconded, and I called the question, so we should vote on it. Rather than table it. I'm against tabling it. I've read through the whole thing, and I think we should vote on it.
What's the table calling the question?
Chairman Kufal, this is Commissioner Berlin over here at the barge. We're having the most difficult time over here understanding the point of order, what we're doing, and the action at hand. We have two attorneys. We had Attorney Quebec over there, and we also have our staff attorney. Please share with us where we're at and what's happening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The correct procedure to be followed right now, I believe there was a motion to approve this resolution and then a motion to table that vote. When that motion to table the vote is made, it stops the discussion on the previous motion and you take a vote on the motion to table. That motion is not passed, then we go back to discussion and possible action on the motion, the initial motion.
But we have a motion to table. We also have a second to that motion. So does that supersede the prior motion?
Yes, it does.
So are we in a discussion or is it time to call a question?
It is the time to call a question on the motion to table. If that is not successful, then we can go back to discussion on the underlying motion.
Thank you, Max.
Max, one more question. Even if Joe had made the call to question before the table vote, motion?
That I was unaware or didn't, I guess, catch that in all of the talk.
I
If
know
you
there's
call
lots of side
questions-
conversation.
I called
Yes.
the question. Joe Rose, I called the question.
The motion to table supersedes.
So all that you need is you to make a decision whether you recognize that in time or not. No. Or you want to table it.
I'm ready. I know.
Really, we have to vote on the resolution to table this, and the motion to table this. And then if that doesn't go through, then we can vote on the resolution to deny the water crossing. So the first thing on the agenda then will be a motion to table this vote on the resolution.
Chairman
Roll
Poole.
call.
Chairman
Are we
Poole.
going to listen? Are we going to listen to the public comments on this one or not?
Chairman Poole.
Public comment.
Chairman Poole. Chairman Poole. There has been a motion and a second to table it, so we need to table it and get more information and then bring it back at next month's
No, we
meeting.
don't.
That's what I just said.
We have to vote on that motion.
Yeah, that's what I mean. We're not asking for another motion, we want to vote.
That's what I just said. Now we're going to do a roll call vote.
I will make a comment, this is Administrator Schroeder, before you vote on it. If you table it, probably not gonna bring it back, because the public comment period for the DNR hearing ends on July 11th. So there's no point in bringing it back if you want to table it. It would be meaningless. So, we'll go to a roll call vote to table this resolution.
I asked for division so that we could clearly understand what people.
Yes.
We recess to reconvene so that we can all be in the same room or this weekend.
Brennan.
No.
She said no. Poole.
No.
Dendor.
No.
What are we voting on?
If you can go to the bathroom.
This is the motion to table.
Rose.
What is it now?
Would somebody please explain the yes and no vote for us?
Whether to table it or not.
What is the no vote?
Not table it.
Okay.
You have to stop butting in. We're trying to get a vote done.
We're not playing games. We're trying to get this vote through, but we don't know what it is because we're having a real hard time over here. So.
Well, I don't want to table this vote. I want to vote on it rather than table it.
The vote that we're in the middle of is the vote to table this resolution. And that's what you're voting on. A no vote means you don't want to table it and you want to discuss it. A yes vote means you want to table it. And we're getting through here. So we're going to continue with this roll call vote to table the resolution.
Rose.
Move on.
Joe, how do you vote on tabling this?
I don't want to table it. I vote no.
That's what I'm asking.
Berlin.
On table.
No.
Corpola.
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
I thought they said VTech. Oh, Quebec.
DTEC.
VTech.
Yes.
Huber.
Yes.
Henneman.
No. Weiner,
Yes.
Judy,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes.
Negro,
No.
Mackenzie,
No.
Quebec,
No, I'm sorry. I thought you called my name before, so I think I voted twice.
That's okay.
We need the vote.
Messinger,
No.
Campbell,
No.
Mazza,
Yes.
Kinney,
No.
Wortman,
No.
I think the echoes should count for extra votes.
14 no, 6 yes.
It sounds like we're in a culvert.
Don't do that. Make the motion.
Okay, the motion to table is defeated. Next, we'll vote on the resolution.
So I've already called the question.
Mr. Chairman, this is Commissioner Berlin. If this topic is ended, I would like to request a recess so that we can continue this meeting as a whole in part, so that we over here at the BART can understand what you guys are doing over there. There's a mass confusion over here. I'm at loss. And then we have callers calling in as well. I think I'd do best if I was go home and call in, as opposed to sit over here at BART and try to understand what's going on, if that's appropriate.
Thank you.
You're requesting a 10-minute recess or what?
This is Supervisor Negro. We can hear everything going on in that BART side and it keeps echoing. That's the part where everything keeps echoing. So if everybody could keep quiet there, it could be muted until somebody has a question.
We can hear you just fine. I'm not looking for a 10-minute recess. I'm looking for a recess until we can reconvene at some other location so that we can understand whether it be in one room or whatever. Right? Negro here indicates that they can hear us fine. But once again, she's on a private line. We're in a group setting over here. I'm not sure if it's the acoustics, the sound system. We're not close enough to the, I'm 3 feet from this microphone right here. That's perhaps why you're hearing me. We're anywhere from 10 feet to 3 feet where I'm talking at right now. And we're trying to understand what you folks are doing over at the courthouse. We can't grasp what you guys are saying over there. We can hear Joe Rose file. We can hear Negro and the people that's on the phone, Quebec. We can hear the folks fine, but we cannot hear and understand what you folks are doing over there at the courthouse. So I'm not looking for a 10-minute recess. I'm looking for maybe a day or two recess so that we can reconvene at a single location. And that was a place I'm not sure where it's from.
All right, this is Pat, the manager at BART. Part of the feedback was that they said that you could hear the acoustics in the courtroom are bad, so I've set up a separate speaker. And every time they talk, I have to turn this extra speaker down or I get feedback. So I'm trying to do it before they talk, but sometimes when I don't know that someone's going to talk, that's where you're getting that feedback. The extra speaker I've added has added a bunch more volume. But what it is the acoustics in the courthouse are pretty bad and it's kind of muffled, bad sounding.
Yes, get a room like the high school gym where we can all be together. I can make that as a resolution. An amendment. I'll second it.
Point of order, don't we have a motion on the table right now?
We have a motion to.
Yeah, the motion is
On the resolution to deny the water crossing, yes, we do. A motion and a second has been on the table.
Deny a water crossing. And
I just want to make one other remark, please, is that perhaps we can reconvene at, say, WITC or the high school or someplace where we can be together. Thank you.
If you want to address that?
At this point, you know, we're in the middle of a meeting with the resolution. We're here to take a vote. If you're having a tough time hearing, maybe what you should do is hang up on your Zoom call at BART and just use a phone. What would that do? I mean, Pat, do you have a phone? Instead of using the Zoom, can you use your conference phone to do that?
Sure I can.
Why don't we try that for a second and just see if that works before we jump ship on a meeting?
All right, give me 10 minutes to get it plugged in and logged in.
Let's call for 10-minute recess. Call for 10-minute recess.
We'll take a 10-minute recess till we reorganize.
Oh, thanks.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Are you ready to vote on this resolution?
I am.
All right, we'll do a roll call vote on resolution RO7 2020-1354 to deny water crossing and other DNR permits for Enbridge Reroute Line 5.
Hufall.
Is it yes vote in support of this?
Yes.
Yes. Hufall.
Yes.
Stendor.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Berlin. Berlin.
The county board.
Corpola.
Yes.
VTech.
No.
Huber.
No.
Heninen. Yes. Wiener.
No.
John Wiener. Thank
No.
you.
Sorry about that.
Shooty. Kathy Shooty.
Yes.
Burdig.
Yes.
Negro.
Yes.
Mackenzie.
No.
Quebec.
Yes.
Metzinger.
No.
Campbell.
Yes.
Kabasa.
Yes.
Kinney.
Yes.
Ortman.
Yes.
Brannick.
Yes.
Berlin votes yes. Was I called?
Yes, you were. Thank you.
I left the board. I'm on the
Yes.
phone now. So.
15 yes, 5 no.
Resolution passes 15 yes, 5 no. Next, we'll vote on F10, resolution RO7 2201355, resolution denying eminent domain ability for Enbridge Energy. Yes.
This is Brandon. I make a motion to approve.
I can't hear you guys.
Motion. A second on the table to
I'll
approve
second.
resolution.
Supervisor Quebec, I will second that motion.
We already have a motion and a second on the table. Do a roll call vote on this resolution.
I call the question.
Roll call, Stendor,
Yes.
Rose,
Rose, is it? Did you say Rose?
yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Berlin,
Yes.
Corpola,
Yes.
E-Tech,
Yes.
thank you. Huber,
Yes.
Henneman, yes. Weiner,
Yes.
Judy,
No.
Murdig,
Yes.
Negro,
Yes.
Mackenzie,
Yes.
Quebec,
Yes.
Metzinger,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Kabasa,
Yes.
Kinney,
Yes.
Ortman,
Yes.
Brannick,
Yeah.
Hufall,
Yes.
19 yes, 1 no.
Resolution passes 19 yes, 2 no.
One no. One.
What?
One no.
1 no?
1 no.
1 no.
No. 1 no. Kathy
All right,
Schutte.
next thing on the agenda is F10, ordinance 00720. You guys just put it down for a minute while I try to run this meeting. We're voting on ordinance 007-2020-112, Ashland County Wetland Conservation Ordinance. We'll take a roll call vote. Motion,
I move to approve this ordinance.
do we have a second?
Supervisor Negro, I'll second.
We have a motion and a second on the table. All in favor, say aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carried. Do a roll call vote.
Want to roll call on the ordinance itself?
What do you think?
You already proved it without a roll call.
Let's see, no.
So it's been approved by the motion in the second, okay. We'll go to F12, Finance Committee recommendation for closeout of the revolving loan fund.
This is Supervisor Negro. I'll make that motion.
All right, we have a motion on the table to approve the recommendation of the Finance Committee and the RLF.
I request discussion, please.
Is it, oh, it's already got a motion on the table.
Second, oh, I'm sorry.
I'll make a motion that this would go to the Mellon Community Center. This is Huber.
I'll second that motion. This is Brannick.
Where we at?
Well, we were in the process of voting on the Finance Committee recommendation. Clark, what was the Finance Committee recommendation?
Finance Committee recommendation is move to make application to the state to grant a bank balance to the highway department to repay a county road. There was a motion. There was a motion to approve that recommendation from the Finance Committee, and we are waiting for a second so we can enter discussion.
This is Pat Kenny. I'll second the motion to send it to the Highway Committee, or to the Highway.
Yeah. Okay, so the so explanations for this. Basically, the reason the finance committee is making this recommendation is we have to repave the road anyway. And if we end up, I'm gonna just zoom this out a little bit here. Let's see here. Hang on for a second. All right, so you can see what's on your screen. This is our road improvement plans going on to 2025. As you're well aware, our county roads have to be on the schedule. Otherwise, we just might as well plow them up and make gravel out of them. We are going to be doing this road regardless. If we grant the money to Mellon, we're going to have to increase taxes, increase debt load in order to pay for that road. So your choice today is use the money that is in the bank to pave the county road, or take out a loan to pave the county road and give the money to Mellon. That's your choice. And the recommendation, the finance committee and the administrator, is to utilize this money instead of raising taxes and taking out a loan.
Discussion now? I'm of the opinion that our fiduciary duty to the county, we fund something that the entire county enjoys. Not to say we don't enjoy visiting Mellon, but I think the recommendation to give county more serving with more than Mellon Community Center. And I would also argue that in a strict sense, it isn't our duty to spend county money on Mellon Community Center. Maybe a county community center somewhere. That's my opinion. Thank you.
We can't hear him here at the BART Center.
Can you hear me now?
You echo a lot.
Echo.
Okay, well, this is Supervisor Ortman, discussion on this appropriation. It's in my opinion that as a county, our fiduciary duty is to the entire county, and I feel N serves more county residents than a Mellon Community Center. Although I support the Mellon Community Center, I think taking county funds to purchase specific city things is not as in more best interest than County N. That's just my opinion. Thank you.
Chairman of Football, this is Pat Kinney. I'd like to make some comments. Well, I do understand why Mellon want a community center. The fiduciary responsibility, as Mr. Ortman said, is to the county. The taxes that people and businesses are paying in 2020 are 11.6% higher than a year ago. And that was a large tax increase that people have right now. With COVID-19, the county has additional expenses, and we know the business community and a lot of homeowners have been hit hard financially with that. They're going to get their property tax bills this year, and I would assume that they don't want to see another tax increase like they saw last year. We also know that the county will have between $100,000 and $200,000 less in sales tax revenue due to fewer people in this area and budgets being tighter. We also know that timber sales are going to be down. You're going to have less revenue from that in 2020. And then finally, as the administrator said, we're going to do that road anyway. And we're either going to do it out of the budget and raise taxes, or you're going to take on more debt to do that. I got my tax bill last December. I was not a happy camper. And with people and businesses hurting this year, I assume nobody wants to see a tax increase at all, let alone one like we had last year.
Kabasa? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to say that Mr. Kinney is correct on all counts. I feel right now I don't want to go to a community center and hoopy when there's no money. And again, I don't, you know, what good is the road if we're not going to go to the center? So, but being I'm spending your money, I'd rather do the road right now and make sure that everybody's happy on that count.
Keep on going. Who's behind you? Watch it.
What's in the mirror behind you?
One at a time, please.
I suppose. Jesus Christ.
This is Huber. I would like to comment.
Okay, Rich, go ahead.
Yes, for the community center for Mellon, the road project, like you say, probably last like 15 or 20 years, and we'll have to redo it again. A community center is going to last 75, 100 years. And it has all kinds of pluses for Action County. Action County only has a couple buildings that are actually big enough to hold a certain event. That's probably the Civic Center, and they have a building in Glidden in their park, but they don't have any like water, so there's no bathrooms or no kitchen or anything for events. And this community center is going to have bathrooms, a full kitchen. They'll have a lot of room to hold a lot of people. And it'll also be good for the tourism, because if you have events like weddings and other things that go on, family reunions, especially like a wedding, people come from out of town, they come from out of state, and they come here and they'll probably take a vacation, coming here to attend a wedding, which would help Action County as far as tourism goes, because they'll be camping, renting motel rooms, eating, convenience stores. They'll be all through the county spending money, and they'll be spending money for 100 years plus, because the building will last that long. And Mellon's going to make a big financial commitment to this building also. So it isn't just the money that's there, it's extra money to build the building. And then Mellon's going to have a commitment for 100 years plus to keep the building maintained and pay all the utilities. So it's a plus for Action County for many, many years, especially for tourism. And you'll get that money back tenfold in like 50 years or whatever. And 50 years from now, that building that we build for, let's say, $1 million is probably worth 10 million by that time. So the building will go up in worth and it'll keep its value. And it'll be contributing to Action County for many, many years. So that's my point of a community center, especially in the middle of Action County. I think it would be a great asset to the Action County, not only to the city of Mellon, but to everyone. Thank you.
This is
Thank
John
you.
Weiner. Every speaker like to speak to also about that same subject. I like the idea of it, but I would like to also get some pricing on what the city of Mellon would like to put in for a project, and what the other circumstances on the pricing would be on that building. That's all.
This is Commissioner Kranek. I agree with our supervisor that's in support of the community center. And I believe also it would be a plus for kids, keep them off the streets, you know, become a member of their community. They could do projects there. If its building is big enough, they could have Wi-Fi and computers set up in the future, basketball, you know, I mean, the possibilities for weddings, community events, everything. When you drive through Mellon, you know, you think of what do these kids have to do here? And, you know, I think about it everywhere. You know, it's a plus for kids and the community. And like our former supervisor had said, it will be from 50 to 100 years, as opposed to giving money to a road that we have to repair again. Not meaning that we don't want to do that, but I mean, this is something that can help that community within whenever it's built. No, thank you.
This is Supervisor Negro. First, I'd like to comment. We talked about this quite a bit at finance. I would rather, we all know we're going to have some really tough cuts to make in order to try to keep some kind of status quo and keep our people not being taxed to death, just because of all the outside circumstances that we have right now. But I agree with Supervisor Kinney on all his points. There was also a question from John Finger, and I'd like to recognize Mike Stoffel because he is on that project. So do I need to make a motion to recognize him for that pricing information?
You're making that motion?
I'm making the motion to recognize Mike so he can give John that information.
Charlie Ortman.
I'll second the motion as long as Mike identifies clearly who he is and what his interest in this project is.
Sure. This is Mike Stuffel. I'm with Ayers Associates. We're the city engineer for the city of Mellon. And so we've been working with the mayor and the administration and staff about what this potential project would look like. It would be probably 150 to 250 person occupancy, as they mentioned, full kitchen, full restroom facilities and banquet facilities. Approximate cost estimate is 300 or 750 to 850,000. So with the 400,000 CDBG close funds, the city would still have a substantial investment of their funds to make the project come to fruition.
What would your role be in making this project happen? I mean, would you be a builder in it? Would you have any economic stake when it's being approved?
We are architects, engineers, and so we would design the facility and engineer the site, and then help to facilitate the public bidding to a local, well, I guess it'd be open to the public, so whoever the lowest responsible bidder would be on that.
Than a highway. It's in your best interest to have us vote this money to a community center than a highway because you're going to make money on it.
Well, our firm also is transportation engineers, so theoretically we could do the project.
Okay, I just want to make sure that's clear. And this is Supervisor Ortman. Mellon was recently the recipient due to a county vote of $1 million in funds from Enbridge. Now, you're free to do what you want with that money, I think, also in Mellon, and this would be another nice windfall for you, but the county has other projects. Okay, highway will stand by, still has more service to the county, and I'm not saying I don't wish one could have the best community center ever, but you just got a very significant windfall, and we still need to make a highway. So, and my stand still is that a highway serves more county citizens than a Mellon Community Center.
So Supervisor Negro, I called a question.
You need a second on that?
Second.
All those in favor of calling the question, say aye.
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 Opposed, say no. The question has been called. We will vote on the ordinance.
It's an ordinance, it's a recommendation from the finance.
Recommendation from the Finance Committee for the closeout of the RLF fund.
And the money to go to the highway.
Their recommendation was for the highway.
Joe Rose.
I vote for the highway.
Berlin. Mike Berlin.
I vote for the highway.
Corpola.
Yes.
VTech,
No.
Huber,
No.
Henneman,
Yes.
Weiner,
Yes.
Shooty,
No.
Murdig,
Yes.
Negro,
Yes.
Kenzie,
Yeah.
Quebec,
Yes.
Metzinger,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Kabasa,
No.
Kinney,
Yes.
Ortman,
Yes.
Brannick,
No.
Hufall,
Yes.
Stendor,
Yes.
15 yes, 5 no.
Motion carries 15-5. We go to G on the agenda, county administrators updates.
Okay, we had a request from Northwest Regional Planning Commission for they got a grant for regional broadband. And they've asked for a few people who want to provide input to a survey. I will be mailing this summary out to the county board, but if you're interested in basically being part of this group and providing survey questions for broadband in our county, let me know, and I will work with Dick, and we will get people assigned to that committee. It's just an input group, basically. So about that. Just thought I'd let everybody know we did have there was an event that you probably didn't hear about it. There was a hockey tournament that happened last weekend. There's a positive case of COVID, Bayfield County resident. There was 8 separate teams that were here, and then another event on the 30th. And there that happened throughout multiple counties. So we were working on. Yep.
Hang on 1 second. Can you people at the building here, Clark?
No.
He's cutting in and out.
This is the worst meeting ever for the county board because we cannot hear what you are
That's your
saying.
question.
All right, we have a motion on the worst meeting ever. Okay, I'm talking about the COVID issue and the hockey tournament. And basically, public health is working on doing contact tracing and identifying businesses that may have had people that attended this hockey tournament that in turn did test positive. And an Ashland County resident test positive on it yet. However, we encourage anyone who attended that particular event to monitor their symptoms. And if they experience the symptoms or any illness, they should go get tested. We'll be sending out a press release this afternoon from Ashland County Health. Also have a continued work. What?
Clark, we cannot hear you. It's cutting in and out. This meeting is terrible. We cannot hear what you're saying. If you'd move up by Dick Poofall, I think that would help.
And it has nothing to do with Bart down here because he's right with us and he's doing everything.
I will never attend a meeting here again.
See, if we built a community center in Mellon.
That's right.
Yeah.
I was gonna mention that in my little speech, but I thought it was.
Well, what the hell's now? That would have put it over the edge.
That's right, I know.
I am continuing work on the budget process we're working on a finance committee meeting that's gonna be happening next week. We're gonna be making a recommendation at the county board meet on October 6th to review the budget, with possible changes coming back to the finance committee on October 11th, October 15th, for publication or your public hearing on November 10th. The reason I'm building an extra meeting in there for the budget is there have been some board members who the first time they see the budget, if they do not attend the finance meetings, is when they see it at the public hearing, at which point it is too late to make changes and adjustments. So I will be putting that forth and with the finance committee to set that timeline. We will be going over the budget timeline at the finance meeting on 14th. I started a YouTube channel, and we're moving all county meetings to online and recording for the citizens to watch when the citizens can't show up during the middle of the day. It is not perfect. No one is saying it is a perfect solution. The perfect solution is to spend $50,000 on a better microphone recording system with cameras. It's my understanding we don't have the money for that. So we're going to be working with what we have. Please be patient. Our cooperators meeting between the two tribes and the two counties that I started on March 19th. We are down to just one meeting per week now due to our preparedness level for the pandemic. I continue to have weekly Zoom meetings with our department heads. The Extension WC training, for county officials is on the website under board resources. So I would encourage you to go to board resources on the webpage, and there's trainings down there for you to learn more about what your job, what your role is as a public official. We are continuing to work with WCA on investigating public health orders and how they can be carried out in enforcement throughout the state. As you notice, throughout the state, there are some municipalities and counties that are ordering businesses closed, ordering capacity limits, ordering of wearing the mask. These issues have been brought up continually in court, and they're currently being litigated. Ashland County has not issued any orders, but we are working with Corp Counsel and the WCA. If we do have to issue some sort of orders, what would it look like and what would the enforcement action look like on that? And so at some point, we'll be coming back to the county board with an update for that. Upcoming meetings, we have property and law enforcement on the 14th, and finance on the 15th, and zoning and planning on the 23rd. That's my update, Chairman.
We'll go to H on the agenda, County Board Supervisor reports.
Kathy,
Any
Judy, I have
supervisors
2 items.
Okay.
First of all, I would like to read a paragraph from the Northern Wisconsin Building and Construction Trade Council. The Northern Wisconsin Building and Trade Council fully supports the Line 5 project and asks that Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources promptly process approval for Enbridge's Line 5. It's a union. And here's another union from the Wisconsin Building Trade Unions. The Wisconsin Building Trade Council fully supports the Line 5 projects and asks the DNR to promptly process and the permits required for Enbridge Energy. So these are union jobs that will, for a laborer, for example, you'll get about $30 an hour for a job. These are very good paying jobs that you can live by. I'm done.
My name is John Weiner. I'll comment to that too also. I've been a carpenter union local member here for 25 years, and the union puts together some of the best things possible. So I'm very proud of union. Thank you.
Kabasa, I just want to say that we've had a few glitches here, but I want to thank
Mr. Hunt for work, what did I say that for? No. Anyway, I want to thank him for all the work he's done for us and trying to do. But I don't know if we need a new mic. I just think that if we were back in a bigger building where we can be a little bit apart, we'll wear our masks, but I would rather the contact and be able to be amongst the rest of our meeting people. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy.
This is Supervisor Quebec, and I'm not comfortable right now having in-person meetings because I do not want to contribute to a possible illness among anyone of the county board supervisors or the county staff. Because I don't think I could forgive myself if I did so. And so I'm really happy that we have an option to participate in these meetings remotely. And I'm hoping that we continue to do so because I think you make a really difficult choice for people if you force them to be in a particular location during the time of an international public health epidemic that is causing numerous painful deaths and permanent or very long-term disability among people. So I should hope that we could be able to continue to participate from remote locations for future meetings.
Can do it.
It's Kathy Schutte. One last thing. Philomena, I agree with you that you should not be forced to come to this meeting. So I would like to see a large room where we can all get together and those who choose to be resumed on the Zoom meeting can do that. But having us in 3 different spots is not democracy. Thank you.
Well, I'd like to reply to Kathy Schutte. I think she should have abstained from that vote there because she has a direct conflict of interest.
This is Marty Vitek. I'd like to note that our general rules of operation here, item 17, says that every matter that comes before the board should start from a committee, and that if it's something else, the board by a 2/3 vote could authorize it. I would like to see the cover sheets of the resolutions indicate what committee each of these resolutions come from in the future, because I can't tell that in today's meeting. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yes, this is Councilor Supervisor Franis, and how you have your meeting for the COVID update. I don't know how you could do it, but I wonder, like, if Walmart, if a manager from Walmart, a manager from Walgreens, if they could go on Zoom and join that meeting, because I want our, just me as a employee at Walgreens. I mean, people are not required to wear masks, and I'm not saying they should be. I'm saying that our store has had these things on the floor. People are not paying attention to it. I'm constantly reminding people about the 6-foot rule. And we were, a lot of people from that hockey tournament were in the store, and I was the main cashier that day. And I just want every employer in this town to be on the same page with the COVID updates so they know how to protect not only the community, but their employees. Thank you.
Yeah, this is Joe Rose. I think that we should be enforcing social distance, masks, hand washing, and all of the precautions that are recommended by the country's leading health experts.
All right, is there anything else on supervisors' reports? If not, one thing I want to mention, this meeting was quite disruptive, and one of the reasons being that nobody asked to have the floor. People were talking from 3 different directions on top of each other at the same time. We have to have a little bit of decorum if we do this again. I know it's hard to recognize somebody that's on the telephone and somebody that's a mile away, and this is not an easy project, but we're doing the best we can. We'll go to number 13 on the agenda, reminder to mail in or drop off your vouchers. And 14, we've already done the supervisor's reports. We've already done that. Now we need a motion to adjourn.
Supervisor, move to the adjournment.
We have a second.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second to adjourn.
One final question, Franek here again. Is there going to be any COVID testing in Ashland County? I know Bayfield County has had quite a bit of them. We need more in Ashland County. Thank you.
Can you answer that part?
We will, we'll bring that up at our next cooperators meeting, which is tomorrow, concerning the wing testing for the National Guard. And we'll see if we have another opportunity to do that.
Thank you.
All right, we have a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Stay safe, everybody.
Anyone opposed who hasn't had enough?
No.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Dick.